Hello students, today we shall be studying about My Childhood by APJ Abdul Kalam. It is the 6th lesson in your textbook Beehive. So, let us start. Abdul Kalam, the Missile Man of India. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam is a famous name in the whole world. He is counted among the greatest scientists of the 21st century. Even more, he became the 11th President of India and served his country. He was the most valued person of the country, as his contribution as a scientist and as a president is beyond any comparison. Children, apart from that, his contribution to the ISRO, that is, Indian Space Research Organization, is remarkable. He headed many projects that contributed to the society. Also, he was the one who helped in the development of Agni and Prithvi missiles. For his involvement in the nuclear power in India, he was known as Missile Man of India. And due to his immense contribution to the country, the government awarded him with the highest civilian award. Abdul Kalam was born on October 15, 1931 in Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu, India, and he died on 27th July 2015 at Shillong in India. Now, it's the time to introduce the lesson. So the introduction is as follows. My Childhood is an extract taken from the autobiographical book Wings of Fire by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, a well-known name in the world of science. Here, in this lesson, he talks about his childhood days, his friends, his parents, his teachers, and the small society of Rameshwaram that was very rigid in terms of the segregation of different social groups. A very prominent thing is his journey from a middle-class family to the president's house was not a smooth one. Abdul Kalam faced all odds of life and worked very hard, thus became a rising star and motivated many people. He is a great source of inspiration for all of us. Let's know about his family. Abdul Kalam was born in a middle-class family in 1931 in the island town of Rameshwaram, Tamil Nadu. He had 3 brothers and 1 sister. Though he was born to a tall and handsome parents, Kalam was a short boy with very ordinary looks. They lived in their ancestral house on the Mosque Street, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. It was a fairly large Pakka house made of limestone. In his childhood, Abdul was greatly influenced by his parents, his teachers and his friends. His father, Jainul Abdin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth, but he was a very generous and kind person. He loved austerity and simplicity. He provided a secure childhood to his children. His mother was a very hospitable lady who used to feed a number of outsiders every day along with her own family members. Next is a very valuable information that tells about the values Abdul Kalam inherited from his parents. Abdul's father possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. His mother, Ashia Amma, was a religious and kind-hearted lady who fed many people every day unfailingly. His mother was an ideal helpmate. Kalam inherited honesty and self-discipline from his father, and he also inherited faith in goodness and deep kindness from his mother. He inherited liberal and progressive outlook, and all these values shaped his personality. Now students, let us know how Kalam earned his first wages in that tender age. Abdul Kalam was just 8 years old when the Second World War broke out in 1939. Then there was a great demand of tamarind seeds in the market. Kalam used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provision shop on Mosque Street, which fetched him 1 anna every day. With the outbreak of the war, the train halt at Rameshwaram station was suspended. The newspapers were bundled and thrown out of the moving train on the road between Rameshwaram and Dhanuskodi. Samsuddin, Kalam's cousin, distributed newspapers in Rameshwaram in those days. So, he employed Kalam as a helping hand and thus made him able to earn his first wages. Another important piece of information about Abdul Kalam's childhood friends. Abdul Kalam had 3 close friends in his childhood. Ramanatha Sastri, the son of the high priest of Rameshwaram temple, Aravindan and Shiv Prakashan. All these boys belonged to orthodox Brahmin families, but they never felt any difference among themselves. They loved each other infinitely. The bond of love among them was very strong. Later, Ramanatha Sastri took over the priesthood of the Rameshwaram temple from his father. Aravindan went into the business of arranging transport for the pilgrims, and Siva Prakashan became a catering contractor for the Southern Railways. Abdul Kalam's family was an ideal family. Very uniquely, his family fostered Hindu-Muslim unity. You must be wondering how. Let us study. Kalam's family took part in Hindu festivals. Sri Sita Rama Kalyanam ceremony used to be held every year. Kalam's family used to arrange boats for carrying the idols of Lord Rama from the temple to the marriage site. His mother and grandmother used to tell stories from the Ramayana and from the life of the Prophet to the children at bedtime. Thus, the story gives an exemplary account of the people who were not orthodox, but they fostered Hindu-Muslim unity in their children. Dear children, you have been told that the small town of Rameshwaram was very rigid in terms of segregation of different groups. No one was allowed to spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance. But something happened. Let us know about the incident that took place at the Rameshwaram Elementary School. Abdul Kalam was in 5th standard when a new teacher came to his class. The teacher felt very uncomfortable to see a Muslim boy sitting in the front row with a Hindu priest's son. He immediately ordered Kalam to go and sit on the back bench. Both the friends became very sad. They told their parents about the incident. Ramanatha's father did not let it go. He summoned the teacher and told him that he should not spread the poison of social inequality and communal hatred in the minds of the young children. He also warned the teacher to either apologize or quit the school and the island. This made the teacher realize his mistake. He apologized and reformed. So on the whole, you see that the small town of Rameshwaram, it was very, very rigid in terms of the segregation of different groups. Children, Kalam was very fortunate to have a great teacher who was not only a great source of inspiration but also played a pivotal role in shaping his personality. His teacher's name was Shiva Subramanya Iyer. Shiva Subramanya Iyer was Kalam's science teacher. He was a rebel of his own kind. He did not believe in social barriers. He held these barriers responsible for social division and communal hatred. He wanted Abdul Kalam to break all the social barriers. Abdul Kalam was greatly influenced by his science teacher. His rebellious attitude inspired him. Kalam respected him the most. His nature and internal strength motivated him. His teacher was a rebel and persistent in his efforts. He was not an orthodox. He taught Kalam, once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted. By this, he wanted to teach him that one has to face many problems if one is determined to go against age-old barriers. Thus, it is good to be a rebel. Now, let us see how his teacher breaks social barriers. Once, Shiva Subramanya Iyer invited Kalam to his house. His conservative wife refused to serve food to a Muslim boy. She did not like the idea that a Muslim boy should come and eat in her ritually pure kitchen. But Iyer served him with his own hands and ate his meal sitting beside him. Thus he inspired his wife to change her mindset. On his second visit, Iyer's wife served him food with her own hands. The incident taught an enlightening lesson to Kalam. His teacher's words, once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted, etched on his mind forever. Abdul Kalam wants to go to Ramanathapuram. The Second World War was over in 1945. India's freedom from the British rule was imminent. Gandhiji declared that Indians would build their own India, and the whole country was filled with hope and optimism. Now Kalam asked his father to permit him to leave Rameshwaram and study at the district headquarters in Ramanathapuram. He wished to go there to pursue his higher studies. Dear students, Abdul admired his father. He held his father in a great esteem. His austere father was a great source of inspiration for him. So, when Abdul went to his father to take his permission to go to Ramanathapuram for further studies, his father exhibited great wisdom. Abdul Kalam's father, who had possessed great innate wisdom, readily gave him his permission. He knew that his son needed to go away to grow. His father's reaction and his utterances at this is very significant. He said, Abdul, does the seagull not fly across the sun alone without a nest? He also quoted Khalil Gibran to his hesitant mother. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. Students, these two wise quotes by his father, they have been explained in detail in slide number 15. So you can kindly refer to it. Sad enough, children, Abdul Kalam leaves for heavenly abode. While delivering a lecture at the Indian Institute of Management, Shillong, Kalam collapsed and died from an apparent cardiac arrest on 27th July 2015. He was 83 years old. Thousands, including national level dignitaries, attended the funeral ceremony held in his hometown of Rameshwaram, where he was buried with full state honors. The entire nation mourned the death of such a great soul. Dear students, a robust vocabulary improves all areas of communication: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Vocabulary is critical to any child's success. Keeping this in view, an effective glossary has been given here. It will serve as a dictionary, a guide, providing enough information to you to understand how and when the term should be used. I suggest you to go through it. Here is the explanation of the wise quotes of Abdul's father in paragraph 11 of the lesson in your book, Beehive. Do read and understand what exactly the quotes mean.